Yes, the Bears should win on Sunday. Sports Talk Chicago. Here with Jon Zaghloul. In this video, we're going to break down the Bears-Lions game coming up on Sunday and explain why the Bears have to win and should win. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, set up notifications so you don't miss a thing. We talk Chicago Bears daily. Also have interviews with former Bears players and media members who cover every team in Chicago sports. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports, Facebook Jon Zaghloul. Want to watch more of this show? Head on over to sportstalkchicago.com. I want to start today with this. The Bears are expected to win here. There should be no question, no debate, no maybe. The Bears should win. We should expect it. We should know it's going to happen. The Bears, even in their dark days, even last year, the year before, they beat Detroit. They beat Detroit with Mitch Trubisky. They've beaten Detroit with Andy Dalton. Even with Justin Fields, the Bears have beaten them. There should be no reason, even with the composition of this team, that the Bears lose on Sunday. I'm not going to blame Justin Fields if he plays well and the Bears do lose, but I'm going to be pretty pissed off at this team, similar to what happened after the Commanders game. The Bears should have won that game. There was no exception why the Bears lost that game. The Commanders are worse than the Bears in my opinion, and yet the Bears lost 12-7. To Carson Wentz. And really a Baelish Jones muff punt on top of many different mistakes. I'm not a moral victory guy. I know I've been that way the past couple of weeks. It's been great to see Justin Fields improve, and this week is no exception. But at some point, we have to start setting expectations for this team. Even with the rebuilding season, a new cast, and a depleted defense, there have to be some expectations. Not saying lofty ones, not saying the Bears have to win 7 games or contend for a wild card spot, but they have to be teams they should beat. Losing to Detroit would be pathetic. I know some of you are going to be Lions fans watching this stream, but really, it's going to be pathetic if the Bears don't win. The Bears always beat Detroit. Even during the dark years, they win. And the Bears are going to lose this weekend to the Lions and Jared Goff and Dan Campbell, who in my opinion could and should be fired. So just keep that in the back of your head. It's okay to temper expectations on the season. It's okay to temper expectations on what's to come for this team. We know there are issues. We know the defense is depleted. Good players have been traded. The Bears are building towards next year, but that's it. We still need to see a fight and competition and wins versus teams the Bears should beat. Detroit is number 1 on that list. The Bears have to sweep the season series. It starts on Sunday. Now, this is a better Detroit team than in recent years. Jared Goff is doing very well, serviceable QB. Their run attack is very good. That's going to be a problem for the Bears defense, Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. And even their offense in general is averaging nearly 24 points per game. The offense is going to be key. Can the Bears defense contain Detroit? Get at least 1 or 2 stops, maybe force a turnover. And then the Bears offense has to do what they've done the past 3 weeks and just score and score and score and score. That's going to be the key to this game. This is going to be a high-scoring game, and it's going to come down to which team can stop the other one at least 1 or 2 times. Whether it's by interception, fumble, or simply a 3-and-out at some point, someone's defense is going to have to step up and make a stop. Now, the positive going for the Bears is Detroit's defense is statistically the worst in the NFL. 32 out of 32. They give up, on average, 29.3 points per game. This is why I said Dan Campbell should be fired. I know his personality is likable. Players seem to like him, maybe last year more than this year. But you have a good offense. I mean, Detroit's offense is 12th in football. They have a pretty serviceable offense. They should be winning more games than what they have done already. And at some point, it's not the players. I mean, they're performing. We have numbers to show it. Could just be the head coach. This Lions team is not horrible. There have been worse iterations of them in the past. This one is competitive. This one is going to be tough. I know they beat Green Bay. They hurt Aaron Rodgers. To me, that was an anomaly. Just because they beat Green Bay doesn't mean it's okay for the Bears to lose to them. See, that's the other key here. Oh, they beat the Packers, so it's okay if the Bears lose. No. Or, oh, the Bears lost, but they're still rebuilding. No. Even during a rebuild, there are certain games you gotta win. Or there are certain games that establish you and maybe separate you from being a rebuilding team and having some respect or having no respect and being a bottom feeder. If the Bears lose to the Lions, there will be some respect lost amongst the NFL and other communities. There has to be. How are you losing to Detroit when year after year, even with random quarterbacks, horrible teams, you still beat them? I have the same feelings about this game as I felt before the Commanders game. The same exact feelings. The Bears have to win. There is an expectation of winning. There is the thought of winning. And if the Bears lose, I'm going to be on them on Monday. Now, if Justin Fields plays well and the Bears lose, although Fields kept them in the game, I'm going to be on whatever part of the Bears lost the game, whether it's the defense, whether it's the O-line, whether it's a fumble, whether it's Bayless Jones Jr. making another mistake, whoever it is, I'm going to be on him. I know we as Bears fans have low expectations. That's okay. This team is a rebuilding team. But when you're facing a team of similar caliber, when you're facing a team even in worse off situations than you, the expectations have to be raised a bit for that game or that moment. Bears fans, your expectations should be high entering Sunday. There's no excuse or exception for a loss to Detroit. If Matt Nagy could beat them, if the Bears could beat them last year on Thanksgiving in that pathetic fashion, with that team, there's no reason why they should lose on Sunday. None. Nothing justifiable to say. Lions also have tons of injuries. According to Football Reference, so many guys are out or are limited in practice, so they aren't going to be fully healthy. They're definitely a rebuilding team with no direction. And the Bears, historically, no matter what their team has looked like, they've won. They've beaten Detroit. The expectation should be another win on Sunday. We have to temporarily heighten our expectations if you're facing a team that's lower than you. The Bears are facing the Lions. The Lions are lower than the Bears. They're worse off. They're in a worse position. They're always the bottom feeder. The Bears have to win. The Bears always beat them, no matter who the quarterback is, no matter who the head coach is, no matter what situation the team is in. Last year, Matt Nagy was about to be fired, and the Bears beat them by a field goal on Thanksgiving. We have to expect another win. So I'm just warning you now. The Bears lose, you're going to see me pretty pissed off on Monday. Not because of Justin Fields or because of whatever ends up happening, but because the end result is the end result. The Bears should win. Every year they beat this team. So all of us as Bears fans, do me a favor if you're watching this, have a higher expectation. It's okay to know this team's rebuilding. It's okay to acknowledge it and say we're waiting for next year. But it's also okay, on the other hand, to say, well, we're rebuilding, but need to win this game. Even when the Cubs were rebuilding, they still won 60, 70 games. They still beat teams who they were kind of supposed to beat. Even the Bears last year with Matt Nagy, a lame duck head coach, lame duck GM, screwing around with Justin Fields, they still found a way to beat Detroit. As horrible, as pathetic, as boring as that game was, the Bears won on Thanksgiving. They did it. Gotta do it again. And I think they'll be okay. I mean, if Justin Fields plays like he has been the past couple of weeks, it's going to be the Justin Fields show again, and the Bears will outscore Detroit. My final score prediction is the Bears 33 and Detroit 30. Expect a high-scoring game. Detroit has the worst defense in football statistically, but the Bears' defense has been one of the worst in football the past 3 weeks. Time to expect a high-scoring game. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But remember, the Bears have to win. We all like offense. We all like entertaining football. But we need to remember what the key is in this game. Now, if the Bears were facing, I don't know, the Cardinals or Rams or other teams better than them, Eagles, we would expect a loss and we'd be okay with that. We'd worry about Justin Fields' development. But in this game, with a team lower than the Bears, there are two objectives. Win the game, number one. Two, advance Justin Fields' development. Number one, keyword, is winning the game. It is. We can't go that low. We could go low in our expectations. We could justify every single loss. We could see this team go 3-14 and say, okay, whatever. But we can't go to the point where it's like, okay, the Bears lost to a team worse than them. I can accept it. I'm okay with it. I'm happy about it. Justin Fields grew. I know the objective of the season is to develop Justin Fields, but when you play games in which you are expected to win, like the Commanders, like the Lions, you got to win those games. I don't care what you're trying to do. I don't care if you're trying to tank. Win the game that you're supposed to win. I know I've made my point very clear, but I'm trying to make sure everybody understands what we should be expecting and what standard we should hold the Bears to. I'm fine with Justin Fields developing. But we need to expect wins when the Bears are facing teams worse off than them. Simple as that. And that's an all sports lesson. And if the Cubs faced off against Detroit this year, they should have won. Even the Cubs swept the Mets this year, right? Cubs are rebuilding. They swept the Mets even. And the Cubs outperformed their expectations, which were low, and understandably so. They beat teams they should have beaten. They beat a couple of teams they weren't supposed to beat, and look at their record. Great. The Bears have to be on that same trajectory. The Bears have to win games they're supposed to win. If they lose games they're not supposed to win, we can accept it and be okay with it. We're not going to condone losing, but we'll be okay with that. But in this case, if you're facing a team you're supposed to beat, hey, beat them. Just win. That way we don't have to complain or worry about the Bears moving forward. Justin Fields, I know, is going to go off. The Bears' offense is going to go off. I would bet the over if you're betting in this game. And I would put my money on the Bears here. 33-30 final score. At the end of the day, I don't even worry about what the final score will be. This is just a prediction for you, but the Bears have to win. I don't care if it's 1 point. I don't care if it's 3 points. I don't care if it's a blowout. The Bears have to win. That's it. Stay true to realistic expectations. Realistic expectations aren't, oh, the Bears are rebuilding, they could lose everything. No, realistic expectations are, the Bears are rebuilding. We know that. We can acknowledge it. They won't be great till next year, but when they face teams that are lower than them, they have to win. Hold them to a higher standard and be ready for what's to come this Sunday. Thanks for watching today's show. Really appreciate the time. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports, Facebook, Jon Zaghloul. Want to watch more of this show? Head on over to sportstalkchicago.com. So long, everyone.